Hi there, I'm Eric Hollenbeck, Director of Percussion Studies at Colorado State University. Today I am talking about the Timpani etude for the 2025 Colorado All-State Band auditions, percussion auditions in particular. This is basically the musical studies for the intermediate timpanist by Garwood Whaley, and this is page 38. This is 12/8, and you've got 4 drums, 4 pitches, and we're looking at a G7 chord or G, B, D, F, a G dominant 7th chord. So we basically, when we're dealing with timpani, of course, the thing that we've got to kind of really make sure that's happened, that we don't have to deal with the other instruments, is tuning. So a couple things I recommend. One is using an A440 tuning fork to tune. Now, when tuning this G major chord, basically with an F on top, I recommend understanding, first of all, that the bottom drum range is typically for a 32-inch drum is D to A, and so that G is going to lie a major second down. But knowing the sizes and ranges of the drums is going to help you tune. The second drum up is a B, and for a 29 we usually have F to C, so we're looking at another major second down, or a minor second in this case. The 26 is basically B flat to F. A D will be right in the middle of that drum. And then the top drum, the 23-inch drum, we're looking at a D to A there, so that will be, again, F will be right in the middle of that. So a couple things I recommend. One is that taking a 440 tuning fork, finding your A, and then from there making that mi and going mi, re, do, re, and that would be your G. And for the audition, I would actually use a mallet to tune. So realize that this is going to be a major second down from the top. So G, lightly tap it, get your ear down, make sure the pedal is below the pitch you want. And then once you're there, hit it again and then dampen it. And that's the whole procedure. You'll notice I just hit the drum twice and I wouldn't do any more than that, okay? And then the next drum up basically would be B, okay? And again, this lies a minor second off the top. We're looking F to C. So you got G, B, and again, this is going to go quite a ways, but ear down, use your mallet. And then hit it again, you got your B. Okay, and then D, again, this is B flat to F, so D is about in the middle. So do, mi, so, you got your D. Okay, and tune that, and then the high one, I take from the D and go bum body, which is Brahms' lullaby. Bum body da da dum da da dee da 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 da. But that's how I find my F. So I got bum body. And then I got F. So I got G. Kind of find that. And then you can kind of check a couple things. Your G and D is a fifth. So you gotta check that. When you hit them together, a lot of times fifths are easier to hear if they're out. And then B to F, which is a tritone. Omira, Maria, or the Simpsons, you can think. But that tuning procedure, you want to kind of get pretty strong at, and don't overdo it. But again, hitting it twice, glissing up to the pitch. Once you get there, check it again, dampen it, move up. We tend to hear intervals better upwards, so I would tune from the bottom up that way. A couple things about the etude. I tend to aim for the faster tempo, which is 72. And therefore, at 72, dampening the 8th note rest would be a little too much. So I only dampen dotted quarter rest. That's it. Which you have in like the 5th and 6th bar when you play this. Right there, I just dampen those. The other place that you would do is measure 11 when you get to every other rest that's there, quarter note or 8th note, I would not dampen, just because it gets into the time and you want really steady time. This has pretty wide dynamics. So you're at measure 14, you're piano, and at the end you're fortissimo with a marcato accent. Whenever I get to marcato accents on timpani, like the last 2 bars, 18 and 19, I would use a sharp stroke like this. So you're really snapping it off the head, and that will kind of point that a little more. There's some long diminuendo at the end of 11, and then there's a long crescendo starting in 15 till 19. I would just try and space those out as well as you can. Some of the timing gets a little tricky in 11, 12, 13. Just realize where the larger beat is, the dotted quarter, and make sure you're not pushing and pulling that, but definitely practice with a metronome on that. The piece actually ends at the end of 19, which is the roll. So I would dampen on 1 rather than play 1 of 20, just to make that clear. So as you get this roll, I would think 2, 3, 4, 1. I would dampen on 1 rather than play the downbeat of 20. It doesn't say play to the downbeat, it just says play to the end of 19. So I would dampen there. When dampening, I would try and generally use the back 3, spread back 3 fingers lightly here on this. So you get this. And you don't have to touch it too long. You don't have to get all the send out. You're just trying to get the majority of the send out so the pianos following that are clear on that. But work on the tuning. Make sure this also feels like it's in 12/8, even though a lot of things rhythmically, like the end of measure 3, are hemiolic. In other words, we have kind of a polyrhythm going on there. I would still imply the dotted quarter as much as you can. Generally, on timpani, you want to make sure that you balance towards the bottom. In other words, the G and the B on the 32 and 29, you want to bring out that sound a little more. In the F, especially in this range, which is about in the middle of this drum, I would take it easy on this drum. Do not hit this too loud. You just really get a sour sound out of it really pretty easily. So more sound down here, less sound up top is really kind of one of the main things. As far as tone production, I would definitely try and lift, whether you use kind of basically a match grip or a German style versus a French style. Either way, lifting and creating a resonant sound this way rather than downstroking everything is going to make a big difference in your overall sound. So try and lift on that. So anyways, yeah, good luck with this one, and do your best.